Don't you worry, the clip's about to begin, but don't forget to subscribe. Or else, don't make me turn this website around.
Next we have Elliot. Hi, can you hear us?
I can, yes. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay.
Great, what's your question
Should I
today?
just jump right into it? All right.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm from Georgia, and I'm from, like, deep in Georgia, aka every single person I interact with is deeply, deeply Christian. Like, not even just religious, everyone's Christian. And I personally grew up in the church, and it wasn't until recently that I kind of was like, I think this is all bullshit. And then I was like, oh, yeah, it is. So anyway, I have started to distance myself from the church as a whole, but right now I'm having a hard time finding a way to, like, not be ashamed of my beliefs and just kind of be like, you know what, no, I don't think there is a God, thanks, without, like, putting myself at risk. And so I just kind of wanted some advice from other people who, you know, probably went through this stage and didn't die. So, yeah.
I wonder if you might be better at giving personal advice on this, or because where I grew up in, like, the south of England, there are religious people, there are lots of Christians around, but English people have a very keep your religion to yourself kind of attitude. And also lots of the people I knew just either weren't religious and didn't really care, or were atheists. So I didn't have this kind of feeling like up against everyone. So perhaps Zod can start first if you'd like, and then perhaps I can add something.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. There's a lot that goes into this, and it depends so much on the situation that I guess the easiest thing, Elliot, would be for me to just ask you a few questions and try to get a sense of where you're at. Is that okay? Yeah. I guess one thing I would ask is, you said you're surrounded by a town where basically everybody's religious, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Forgive me if you said this already, but does this involve people really close to you, like family and really close friends?
Yes, it's my immediate family as well.
Okay.
My parents, my siblings,
And
everybody I know.
Okay. Is the concern more immediate family or just the town in general, or is it just kind of the whole package?
It's really the whole package. Honestly, my family has really come to terms with it, and they're kind of like, okay, I guess you can do whatever you want to do. It's more like trying not to be even just emotionally attacked in general, just going about my life. Because, I mean, I live in Georgia, so everyone's going to talk to everyone about everything. If I see someone in the grocery store, I either have to run away and hide or talk to them. So it's kind of just like everything around me in a way.
Okay. Well, so you've gotten over the hurdle generally with your family then, right?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Yeah, that's a huge thing to have gotten past. So you can at least be yourself around your family. So you're more concerned with the community.
Right.
What kind of pressure are you, without actively putting yourself out there and expressing an atheist point of
Uh-oh.
Well,
we've lost Zod. So perhaps we'll just come back to his advice in a minute. Just saying about are you back, Zod?
I thought you were gone.
Oh no,
yeah, you
I think
froze.
it was you.
Okay, probably.
Yeah, sorry, did you want to carry on? We've lost the last 10 seconds of what you were saying.
Oh, great. Where was I over the last
family? Saying that it was good to get over the family hurdle.
Oh, way back there. All right. Yeah, I guess I would say, I would ask, like, if you're concerned about how you act in the community, you're probably just coming out and telling people you're an atheist out in public is right out. You don't want to do that necessarily. But what other kinds of pressures are there on you? Like, if you're just going around being yourself, how do the expectations of the community clash with that? Like, how do you have to actively hide yourself, or what do you have to do in conversation? Is there any scenarios like people asking, where do you go to church, or certain asking you to pray? Is there anything like that that comes up?
There is stuff like that. There's also, I'm in college, so there's a lot of like discussion subjects, especially in my English class, where you're expected to speak and you're expected to voice whatever thoughts you have. And so sometimes, like recently, it's been controversial topics, like, I think the other day it was like abortion. And so there were a lot of people that were saying, I don't think it's right to end a life, which is fine. That's an opinion to have, but that's not an opinion I share. And when it was my turn to speak, I kind of just was like, what am I supposed to just agree with these people? I don't agree with these people. What do I say? Kind of like just this weird, confused, like, I know what I think, but is it appropriate to share that?
I think, like, in a setting in college where they're asking you to discuss controversial topics, I mean, they're perhaps asking for debate. It's not like they're giving, a talk on how to care for newborns or something, and you just stand up and say, I believe abortion is good. Like, they're
Right.
sort of asking for a discussion. And in that case, I think that perhaps, like, part of the issue here is your sort of confidence in your like the value of your opinion to others. Like, for sure, if like what Zod was saying, if there are situations where you feel a bit like, oh, what might happen to me if I just said I was an atheist, or people are confronting you or something, then that's a bit of a different situation. If you're in college, or people asking you at the pub or something, then like, you don't have to just come out and say, like, abortion is good. Like, you don't have to be an argumentative knobhead like I'd be, but you can say, I think it's worth considering both sides of the options, and I'm kind of leaning more this way, though if you want, or like, you can give me your opinions and I'm happy to hear both sides. You don't have to be sort of so confrontational with it. But I think it would be good to sort of practice, certainly when it's like an abortion thing, because you could still be a Christian and believe in abortion being good. So
yeah,
that's maybe not such of a shock to the society if you sort of started on things like that. But it's good to be able to put your opinions forwards, especially when it's in a setting where they're sort of being encouraged to.
Yeah, is the
right. Okay.
is the tone within the classroom even very conservative? Like, even within, like, I would generally expect a university to be at least, if not more liberal, at least somewhat more open to conversation. Even within that environment, is it still the same kind of thing where you feel like you're surrounded?
Yes, especially because I go to a really small university right now, and so it's only in Georgia, and the professors I have openly expressed their beliefs and been like, they have all kinds of like cross stuff and just paraphernalia, and so it's like, it's all the way down to like the people who are almost supposed to be mediators. I almost worry that like they would just naturally not take my side in a way, and like not keep me from just being demolished and like people talking over me kind of things,
Mm. Do you think that?
So it's almost like you're going to a de facto. Sorry.
So
it's almost like you're going to a de facto Christian university, it sounds like. Is that more or less correct? As far as what the expectations of
I'm sorry, can you say it again? I didn't hear you.
What's that?
I didn't hear the first part of like what you said.
It's almost like, practically speaking, as far as the expectations of you and how people converse and what the values are, it's almost as if you're going to a Christian university. Is that somewhat accurate?
Yes, that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So perhaps,
yeah, I would suggest.
With, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I already interrupted you once, so go ahead. Go ahead.
I guess I was going to say, I suppose starting with smaller disagreements is probably a way to go, because there might be other people who don't share the sort of common opinion on everything. They're still Christian, but they think abortion is actually okay in some situations, or they disagree with some other generally conservative position. and
Right.
just sort of put your foot in the water a little bit and just see what the reaction is. I guess that if you're worried about losing friends, you don't want to kind of be isolated and have everyone around you disliking you. But if it's just going to be a case of some of the people in your class are going to argue with you, then I guess part of it is having the confidence in your position. And something I try and do with this is imagine how I would react if people were confronting me on something which was just like trivially true. Imagine if you're standing outside and there is a group of people around you, like 30 people, and they're all saying the moon doesn't exist and you can just see it. Like, imagine how you would react to that. Oh, it can feel bad to be like attacked and in a room full of people who are all disagreeing with you. But at the same time, you would have this confidence that like everyone here's an idiot. Or at least everyone here is wrong. And with some things that are less trivially true, but you can still know that they're true, you can just kind of tell yourself, well, rationally, I should react in the same way. I know that abortion is like morally good in most situations or all situations. So really, it's a bit like them saying the moon doesn't exist. And so I should react in the same way. And that is, if a load of people come at you for saying your opinion, you can just be like, well, I think you're wrong. And I think this is a bit of a silly situation. And I'm not going to be upset by it. And I hope we can still be friends. But if you're in danger of becoming really isolated, then it might be more strategic to be less, pick less controversial topics, start on pizza toppings or something, and see how deep you can go before things get a bit spicy.
And it sounds like, correct me if you're wrong, but it sounds like at this school, your opinions could potentially affect your academic future, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I would be very cautious. Are you planning on living in this town long term, or are you planning on moving somewhere else after you graduate?
I'm intending to transfer schools actually right now, but my ultimate goal is to literally leave the United States. So
okay. I would suggest then, and I might catch some flack from this for some people, but I would suggest being pretty guarded. I was told when I went to college, because this was in a church environment, I was a Christian young man. One of the elders of the church said, you got to go to college and give them the answers they want while still believing what you believe. And I'm not saying tell them that you agree with a pro-life stance or anything like that, but I would have somewhat of a mindset of assess really what you're going to accomplish by being argumentative within this environment. Are you really going to change anybody's minds, and weigh that against what the personal cost is to you? Are you really going to just go down in a flaming wreckage, kicking and screaming, fighting with people who aren't going to be convinced, and you're going to ruin your academic future and have all these consequences within your community? So in that event, it might be wise to, if you're called upon to answer a question, give something that's true to yourself, that doesn't violate your principles, but is very benign and is going to fly under the radar to the best of your ability. Some people might not like me advising that kind of compromise, but really I don't see ruining your future and having all these potential academic problems because you're picking fights that you're not going to win with a bunch of people who are just going to see you as the crazy liberal atheist. So my advice would generally be fly under the radar and just get out of there.
I do think that university or college in general is just about, you want to learn the whole way you're going through, but it's also about getting that piece of paper at the end, and you kind of want to say what they want to hear. So I agree with what Zod's saying there. That also means if you're transferring schools, like at the point where it's all locked in and it's transferred, then you can come out with the most crazy atheist views all you like for the last 2 days of school or something. Be like, I was an atheist all along, suckers. Like, it's good that if you've got a plan, like if it was the rest of your life in this town, then it could be difficult. But if you're planning to move schools, move state, move country, even, sometimes keeping your head down for your long-term gain is a sensible decision. And just have somewhere to vent. Like, if everyone around you is Christian, just make sure you have some atheist friends on the internet, or, you know, see if there's a local atheist society or something, just so you can say that you don't feel really sort of trapped in yourself, because then you'll be more likely to just suddenly start arguing. I think I would.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't hiding for a period of time, and I wasn't just to add, I wasn't hiding for a period of time, and just watching atheist YouTube videos, it let me hear that other sane adults believe the same things I do, and there was some validation in that. So yeah, anything you can get that gets you out of that little bubble and helps you realize you're not crazy, and you know the other people are crazy or whatever.
Sure.
You want to be the one who believes that the moon is real, and not the one who's part of a crew saying the moon isn't real.
Right.
Yeah, I hope that helped.
It does.
Good.
All
Okay,
right.
well, thank you very much
let
for
you get
calling in.
someone else.
Thanks for your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for checking out this clip for The Line. While you're here, hit that like button, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and then share this with that bitter uncle of yours who loves talking about the good old days.